Hello, everybody. Welcome to the show. I'm so glad you're here. We got a very special case today. It's about Amber Hagerman, and it should be good. It's how the Amber Alert came about. But of course, before we do that, announcements. Want to say hello to everybody. Zena's taking a nap. If you want to buy Zena a milk bone, you can do so by clicking on this QR code. Where's my QR code? Never mind, I don't have a QR code. You can go to Buy Me a Coffee. You could go to buymeacoffee.com/KatieZ, and there it is. Sorry. And make a donation. If you do that, please let me know in the chat, and I will definitely give her a milk bone. And while I'm saying hi to people, I'm also going to pull up the Buy Me a Coffee, because it doesn't send me a notification, which is, I don't know how to make it do that. So it's not like a super chat. We should get super chats back at the end of September 26th. I think I can reapply. So we'll see how that goes. Hopefully we can do better next time and not get demonetized once a month. That kind of sucks. So if you do want to make a donation, please do so at the buymeacoffee.com/KatieZ, and I will wake Zena up to give her a milk bone. Anyway, let's say hello to everybody in the chat, and we will scroll up to the top. Special thanks to number 2, who's behind the scenes today learning how to produce. I appreciate it, number 2. She's back there throwing links up on the screen and all that good stuff. Norfolk Southern Pokey District, good to see you. You were here early. I saw you in there when I was setting everything up. Erica, good to see you. It was good talking to you the other day on Wrangler Stream. By the way, my notes for this one is kind of rushed because I think I spent the equivalent of an entire workday on Wrangler Stream in the last week. So it's like 3 3-hour streams or something like that, when I should have been concentrating on my own stuff. But I had so much fun hanging out over there, so I'm glad I did it either way. Number 2 is here, and she's backstage right now helping me out. Jerry, good to see you. News Now Enemy, always good to see my brother in here. Man, you guys chat a lot before the stream. Scotto, good to see you, Scotto. Society Red, nice to have you. Miss Mandy, hello, Miss Mandy. Good to see you. I'm not sure if you've been in one of my streams before. I don't remember. Maybe you have. I just don't remember. Methodist Dave, good to see you as well. Oh, it just skipped down to the bottom. If I miss anybody, I'm sorry. Something weird just happened with my computer where it just like flipped all the way down to the bottom of the chats. Bad Quality Memes, good to see you here. And Horatius keeps this show afloat, by the way. When you look at my Discord server, it is entirely Horatius putting stories in there for me to share with you guys. He definitely keeps Crime Land afloat and Friday Night Crime with number 2, which is my new show that we're doing once a month. We had the first one, I guess it's still July right now. Yeah. So earlier this month, we had our first show. We'll be doing another one mid-August sometime. Not sure on the date yet. We'll keep you updated. But yeah, we will. We're doing Friday Night Crime once a month only. But it's so much fun to have a co-host. It's very different than just running the show myself. So I'm glad to have that co-host on Friday Night Crime, and I'm glad to have her behind the scenes right now. And real quick, thank you before we get into the story. Erica bought Zena a milk bone, so I'm going to have to wake her up. And I have a feeling that when I pull these milk bones out, Ava might make an appearance too, because I left the door open because Mr. Zed is the very good husband that he is right now, is mowing the lawn right now. So he's not here. Let's see if I shake them, if she'll come in here. She might be asleep in the living room. But Xena gets a treat either way. I appreciate that so much, Erica. You have no idea. It's so hard. Well, like when I get demonetized to keep my motivation, and not that I'm doing it for the money. It just, it's a quick endorphin hit when somebody thinks that I'm worth donating money to. So I really appreciate that a lot. And even just having you guys here, hitting the subscribe button and commenting and things like that, it really keeps me going. Xena knows what time it is. All right, Tina, this is from Erica. Do a touch. Good girl. Do a shake. Do a shake with this hand. There you go. There you go. This is usually her nap time because her little sister antagonizes her all day long, and she doesn't get those naps in like she's used to. So normally when I'm streaming, I come in here and I close the door and Xena gets her nap. But the door's open right now. So when the puppy wakes up, all heck might break loose. Who knows? Okay. So Amber Hagerman, have you heard of her? I hadn't until recently. So, I forgot to check Rumble. Nobody over on Rumble yet. But if you are on Rumble right now and you're watching this right now, do a little chat so I know you're there. I mean, why not? Doesn't hurt. I'll say hi to you. All right, there's Amber. She was 9 years old. Man, this music is a little too upbeat. Let's see if I can find something different. This is a very sad story. Let's try this one instead. So the Amber Alert system, I'm sure everybody has heard of the Amber Alert system. And this young lady, Amber Hagerman, she was 9 years old, is the reason why the Amber Alert system was created. And I never really, I'm kind of blonde sometimes, so I never really put two and two together of why, like the Amber Alert system was for an actual person named Amber who had gone missing, because I knew that it stood for something. It's like an acronym for something, which it is also that. We'll get to the Amber Alert later, but first I want to tell you about Amber. Real quick, I was about to type this, but I'm just going to tell number two. Just leave the link at the bottom of the screen, because for some reason, the way Restream has changed things around and it gets rid of the chat when you put the QR code up. So let's just skip the QR code today until we can figure that out. Little live production going on. News Now Enemy is also over on Rumble. I said that I would say hi, so I'm saying hi. He said there's two people on Rumble. I'm the other one on Rumble. It's me and you. That's it. I think Rumble numbers are made up for the most part, because I'll get like 1,000 views over there, but I don't know who's watching over there. They don't ever comment or like or anything like that. So I'm not sure where those numbers come from. Whatever. It costs the same to use Restream with, 6 platforms or 5. Or 8, so I'm just going to stream to all the places I can stream to. By the way, we're live right now. If I ever disappear from YouTube, you can find me on Rumble, Odyssey, DLive, Twitch, and Twitter, as well as YouTube. So if I ever disappear and you're like, I really missed that Katie Zed person, you can find me on other platforms. So Amber Rene Hagerman was born November 25th, 1986, to her mother, Donna Williams, who was 18 years old at the time. And her dad, Richard Hagerman, was 34 years old at the time. Can we talk about the age difference between these two? I know there's been debates in my home about what an appropriate age difference is. But 18 and 34 seems like quite a bit of an age difference to be. They did end up getting married and stuff, but it still seems like it's not going to work out, just because people are at different stages of their life. when there's that big of an age difference. Is it just me? What do you guys think about that? So she was 18, Donna Williams was 18, and Richard Hagerman was 34. I mean, I don't know. Seems like too much to me. Seems like I think 10 years should be the cutoff of the age difference between like marrying somebody or whatever. You know what I mean? That should be. So Donna became a mother for the second time 4 years later. So she ended up marrying Richard Hagerman when she was pregnant with Amber. And she got pregnant again 4 years later and gave birth to her son, Ricky. Ricky's going to play an integral part of the story. He was with Amber right before, like minutes before she was abducted. Oh, yeah. Number 2 has a good point. She must have been underage when they met. So, yeah, that's true. Jerry says it's not ideal, but there's always exception. There's true, always exceptions to the rule, for sure. I don't know. I just find it kind of creepy. Just a little creepy. Where'd my notes go? In August of 1995, a news crew in Arlington, Texas, that's where they lived, by the way, began filming the family because they were doing a news story about people who were coming off of welfare. So like who were on like government assistance and are getting their life like turned around and getting off of government assistance. So this woman wanted to do this like TV documentary about this, and she's looking for some, an ideal candidate for her was a single mother with 2 children, because that on average is the person who's on government assistance in that area. So she wanted to get like a sample of, she wanted to get like the ideal person. So she spent a long time looking for a family. And finally, one of the people that she was in contact with said, "Hey, I think I found this perfect person for you. She's a mother of 2. She had left her husband a couple years earlier because he was abusive." Oh, by the way, I think I forgot to tell you guys that part. Richard Hagerman ended up being abusive and Donna left. So, which is, I think, maybe why I'm thinking it never works out, but maybe it does work out sometimes. But it didn't work out this time. The stars align, they find each other, and Amber's mom was thinking like, this is a great opportunity to give back. Like, even though I'm not 100%, a lot of people have helped me throughout my life. And if I could help one person follow the path where I'm creating a better life for myself, maybe it's worth letting this news documentary team film my family. This becomes very important because when Amber ends up going missing, they have all of this very, very recent, high quality film footage of Amber. And it really gets the area, it's the Dallas-Fort Worth area. Excuse me. It really sparks people's, like it does something inside of you when you, instead of seeing just a photo like we're seeing on the screen right here, when you see actual video of a child, you feel like you know that child a little bit better than just seeing a photo. So it ended up like, I believe that everything happens for a reason. But just the coincidences that when I was researching the story that had to happen for this Amber Alert to go into effect, it wouldn't have happened if the news crew wasn't there. And like I said, they started in August and she got abducted in the next January. So several months earlier. And it wouldn't have happened if Amber's story didn't touch so many people's lives, so much so that this system ends up getting created. And it's really sad that Amber was abducted, but I think the amount of people whose lives are changed forever because of it is a good thing. And I always look for the bright side, and that's the bright side that I could figure out. Like that I could, I don't know. You get it. You guys get it. You get it. I've cried so much over the last 2 days researching this. I'm not going to cry today. I'm not crying on air anymore. I refuse. I put eye makeup on. I can't do it. Okay, so Amber's mom, Donna Williams, had an abusive husband, and she's a single mother of 2. According to Amber's mom, Donna, Richard was a heavy drinker, and when he drank, which was like all the time, he became verbally abusive. Or she said he became abusive, and then there was after Amber goes missing, he's interviewed by the news, and he says, "Oh, I just said mean things to her." So definitely verbally abusive. I don't know if he was physically abusive or not, but I don't think it really matters. She realized at some point that her children were afraid in their own home and realized she's got to get out of there, even though she was very young. If she had Amber when she was 18 and Amber was 7 or 8 years old when she left him, she was in her mid-20s and totally on her own with 2 kids, and the place that was her safe haven, she couldn't go back to because the abusive spouse knew where that was. So she did have her parents in the area, but she was afraid to go there because he knew where there was. So she didn't for a long time even go back to visit her parents. It's a horrible situation, which is why a lot of times when I see people filming in public, because it's their right to do so, and they're filming women, I'm always thinking to myself, what if this person is hiding from an abusive spouse or something? What if the reason they're saying please don't film me is because they're hiding from an abusive spouse? Ava has decided to join us. Ava, do you want to say hi real quick? Come here. Oh my gosh, she weighs so much now. She's so big. There's Ava. Hi, Ava. The people say hi to you. Yes. The people say hi to you. She's still a little bit of a terrorist, by the way. All right. She's about to terrorize Zena. I can feel it. Oh, I forgot to get the Buy Me a Coffee pulled up. Let me get through a little bit more of this and then I'll grab that. So they end up in a shelter, and this is where they start getting their life together. The people at the shelter are very nice. They help her get on government assistance. They help find her an apartment where she can live with her kids. They help get the government funding to help pay for that apartment. They're helping her find a job. She's getting her shit together, for lack of better terms. And this documentary crew was there filming all of it, filming her transformation from a scared, abused spouse, single parent of 2, to a strong woman, which we'll see her later. She's an amazing woman, guys. Like what she did in the wake of such a tragedy is amazing. And I hope that if I'm ever faced with something that tragic in my life, that I have that I'm as strong of a person as she is, I guess, is the best way to put that. So now we come to January 13th, 1996. 1996 was a good year, wasn't it, guys? I was just out of high school. I think 1996 is probably around the time Numbers 2 and I met, come to think of it. Maybe 94, 95. Right around that time. We've known each other a very long time. So, yeah, it was a great year, wasn't it? Saturday afternoon, January 13th, 1996. It's 3 p.m. and Donna decides to take the kids to Grandma and Grandpa's house. This is Grandma and Grandpa's house right here. And it's in Arlington, Texas. And it's in a very, I mean, it's a neighborhood where it's an established neighborhood where people have lived there a long time. And it's not necessarily a high crime area. It's very much family oriented. What I was listening in some interviews that I heard was that the people who live in this area have owned their houses for up to 50 years at the time that this happened. So it's families who have owned who own their homes. It's not like a rental community, who've lived there a very long time. Not a dangerous area at all. So they go to Grandma and Grandpa's, Grandpa Jimmy and Grandma Glenda's house, and they had gotten new bikes for Christmas. Keep in mind, this is January, 13th? So they had just gotten new bikes that they were going to keep at Grandma and Grandpa's house because they go there a lot. And so here's Grandma and Grandpa's house. They go to Grandma and Grandpa's house a lot, and they wanted something to do while they're there. So they get there. They say hi to Grandma and Grandpa. It's 3 o'clock. About 3:10, Amber asks if her and Ricky can go ride their bicycles. And what they're supposed to do is come down Highland here and back up this street and just around the block and come back. But they're kids and they don't always listen to instructions. And what Amber knew is that in this parking lot right here, this used to be a Winn-Dixie, and there's a ramp, like a loading ramp, back here in this parking lot. So what they did, instead of going around the block, is they went down here and they came back up around, and instead of turning back towards Grandma and Grandpa's house, they went straight. Amber was leading Ricky there, and they ended up coming to this parking lot right here. It's less than 0.2 of a mile away from Grandma Jimmy and Grandma Glenda's house. And they ended up coming here because of this ramp right here. They wanted to take their bikes up here and ride down the ramp, which was always super fun when I was a kid. There was a hill in our neighborhood that I can't think of the name of, but I bet if News Now Enemy is still in the chat, he remembers the hill that was in our neighborhood. I can't remember. I don't want to spend too much time thinking about it. Anyway, it was just out Carmen Hill. That was it. I was going to say Strong, and I'm like, I don't think it was on Strong. Carmen Hill. Yes. So I remember very well riding my bike down that hill. And I went back as an adult to visit that hill, and it's not, now that I live in the South where there's like mountains and stuff around me, it wasn't really a hill at all. It was like a slight incline, like very slight incline. But when you're 9, that's like fun. So I understand where Amber was coming from, and I probably would have done the same thing when I was a kid. That's what I'm saying. Also, like I said, Ricky was with her, and let's see. Ricky was with her, and they're supposed to go around the block at 3:10. At 3:20, Ricky says, I'm out. I don't want to get in trouble. And I'm going back to Grandma and Grandpa's house. And Amber yells out to him, I'll be right behind you. And what I think happened is she probably wanted to go down this ramp one more time to get a speeding start, to get back over to the street, to go back to Grandma and Grandpa's house, which is this first street right here. And then back down this way. That didn't happen though. Ricky took off back towards Grandma and Grandpa's house, and Amber was not behind, unfortunately. And you can see now here in this parking lot, move that over there. Somebody has drawn a beautiful mural, and there's a statue of an angel here. And I'm going to cry looking at it. I told myself I'm not crying today. I've cried so much researching this dang story. I'm not crying today. But it's funny that Google, whoever the artist was, it was apparently so good that Google Earth thought it was a picture of a person's face and has blurred it out. But there's a painted portrait of Amber there. And, she was 9 years old. And a statue of an angel. And I'm glad that somebody's maintaining this. It's been almost 30 years. So I'm glad that it's just a little peaceful area in this industrial parking lot of now what is a Mexican meat market. That sounds bad. That's not what I meant. It's actually a meat market, like a place that sells meat that has a Mexican name. It's not like a male strip club. It's a Mexican meat market. But I'm glad, like I said, that somebody's maintaining this area for her. So here's what happens. There's a dude named... Where's his name? Okay. I didn't write his name down. Apparently, I didn't write his name down. So a guy living in this house right here is out back working on his car in his backyard. And he hears a little girl scream. And you can see his house has, it's a chain link fence. So he's able to see through. And he sees... when he looks, he hears a little girl scream, and not like a scream, like, the difference, especially if you guys are parents, the difference between play screams and I'm in trouble screams. There's a big difference. He hears an I'm in trouble scream. So he looks up from what he was doing, and he sees a man grab Amber off of her bike. Let me back up a little bit so we can get a better view. Right about here. Grab her off of her bike falls over and is just laying there. The wheel was probably spinning on it in what I imagine happened. Grab her, throw her in the driver's side door of a black pickup truck and close the door, get in the truck, close the door, and drive away out of the parking lot this way. He was able to... he didn't get the license plate. Unfortunately, he didn't get the license plate. But he knew it was a black pickup truck. It was a single cab. It was solid black. It didn't have any pinstriping or anything like that. There was no noticeable damage on it. And the back window did not have one of those little slide, how pickup truck windows can have the little window that opens back here. My husband used to have a truck like that had the little slide window. So that's a lot of information. He saw it happen. He immediately calls the police. Within 5 minutes, the police were in this parking lot. Within 5 minutes of her abduction. That is crazy fast. Whatever News Now enemy just put in the chat, disregard. That's not happening. That's not happening. That was a one-time thing only. And it's not even on my channel, so people probably can't find it. Not happening. I'm going to play just a little bit of this because it has the interview with the gentleman that I was just talking about.
On January 13th, 1996, Amber was riding her bike near her grandparents' home in Arlington behind a grocery store on Abrams. Jimmy Kevill was in his backyard when he heard her scream.
When a black pickup pulled up next to her.
And he run up behind her and grabbed her. He turned around and come right back to here
where his truck was, where the door was open, and put her in the truck.
Kevel called 911. Arlington police responded quickly.
Amber, baby, if you're listening.
Curry got a frantic call from Donna.
She started telling me the details.
I don't want to play that whole video because it's somebody else's video, but that was the gentleman that saw it happen. So I'm so glad that he happened to be there. Ooh, sorry. Whoops, my anarchy symbol. I'm glad that he was there to witness what happened and to call it in almost immediately. This chat is so distracting right now. I'm not eating any milk bones, first of all. And secondly, if you want to get Xena and Ava's here now too. Ava hasn't had a milk bone, so feel free to do that. And just let me know in the chat, by the way. Yes, I believe it was God, Erica. I think that man happened to be there. There's just so many things in that. Like, there's so many things in this story that if they didn't line up exactly correctly, we would not have the system in place that we do now. And I'm going to go over a video at the end I have queued up to that the Amber Alert actually worked. And it happens a lot. I just know when I was researching this, one of the cases that I saw that happened real recently, I had covered on an episode of Crime Land, and I think it was when I had number 2 on, but she'll tell me later, I guess, or, you know, if it, I think she was on when I covered it, but I remember covering it on Crime Land, and it was heartbreaking. And the fact that the Amber Alert worked, it's just, it all happens for a reason. It all happens for a reason. So at the same time that this all was happening, the dude calling, you know, hearing the scream, calling the police, all of this is happening. At the same time, Ricky gets back to Grandpa Jimmy's house and tells Grandpa Jimmy, and remember, Grandpa Jimmy's over here. 7 houses in. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I think it's this house here. So Grandpa Jimmy's over here. So Ricky gets back to Grandpa Jimmy's house, and Grandpa Jimmy says, "Where's your sister?" And Ricky immediately rats her out and says she's over in the parking lot where she's not supposed to be, which is a good thing, by the way. I'm not saying that's a bad thing, because that prompted Grandpa Jimmy to put Ricky in his truck and immediately drive over to this parking lot. So not only were the police called, but the grandparents were notified almost immediately when this happened. So Grandpa Jimmy gets back over there about the same time the police are arriving. And what they find is a pink bicycle just laying on the ground right about here. And no Amber. Just, she's completely gone. The gentleman who was in the second house here who witnessed it said he saw the truck drive out and turn going this direction. And what's interesting about that is, let's get north, going north. So he turns this direction. And the thing that's interesting about that is there's a highway right here that if he was from out of town, the police think that he would have turned right going towards this interchange, which would take him to a major interstate, either going north towards 20 or south to, oh, that is 20. Why are they both 20? Oh, that's 30. It's because I need my glasses. That's why. Going north towards 30 or south towards 20. But he didn't. He turned this way back towards town, Arlington. So that gives the police the impression that it's a local person who kidnapped her. And all along this road, there is industrial areas to the north of the road, all of this industrial in here, and there's neighborhoods to the south of the road and shopping districts and stuff like that. So he could have been going anywhere at this point. Could have been going anywhere. So there's a big push to get this information out. Remember that news crew that was following them? They were from a local news station. So they had the footage of Amber up on the news that night on the 6 o'clock news. Remember, this happened all within an 8-minute span from, the time that they went out to ride their bikes at 3:10 to 3:18 when the 911 call was made. So within 8 minutes, all of this happened. They rode their bike around the block, went down the ramp a couple times. Amber gets kidnapped. 6 o'clock news. So 3 hours later, Amber's video of her is on the news. And it really touched people's hearts living in that area from what I've seen on interviews and things like that. People were really invested in this case. It was one of their own. And I think it's because they had that high quality for 1996 anyway, video footage of Amber. They had footage of her riding her bike. They had footage of her 9th birthday that had just happened in November the previous year. Remember, this was mid-January. So they had footage from just a couple of months ago. They had very clear, very good footage of Amber just being Amber. And people identified with that. And word got around. So the entire Dallas-Fort Worth area at this time is looking for this little girl. The documentary that was being made about the mom getting off of welfare and getting her life together and all that, that was supposed to air on January 17th, 1996. Now, it did not air. It didn't. And it's, because Amber was missing at that time. But coincidentally, on January 17th, 1996, a storm front moved in, a cold front moved in, which causes rain. I'm not a scientist, but that's what I hear happens. That's why we get cold rain, is when a cold front hits a warm front. I don't know. I'm not a scientist. But thank you, Erica. I will get Ava a treat in just a moment. I appreciate that. It caused a very heavy rainstorm at this time. And because of that, a gentleman named Stuart Coker, who was living in an apartment complex 3 miles north of Grandpa Jimmy's house. Why? Oh, there it is. He was living in an apartment complex here. And I should have done a how far is it from here to there thing. The address of the Winn-Dixie was 1600 East Abrams. Okay, so you can see. I'm assuming when he went out of the parking lot, he was going up this way. I don't know why he turned this way. Anyway, so Stuart decides to not walk his dog at the normal time. Instead, he waits for the storm to pass, and he takes his dog out. And his dog takes his dog out to walk, and it's late at night. It's late at night. He takes his dog out. It's all wet, and this creek right here is running very high because it had just had a huge downpour, and his dog starts barking at this creek right here. This is a playground area, and this is where he's walking his dog, and the dog's just barking and barking and barking. And he's like, I got to go check out why my dog is barking so much. And he finds Amber. Well, he finds what he thinks is Amber. And keep in mind, this is all over the news every day for the past 5 days since she went missing. So he sees a young woman, a young girl with dark hair, partially submerged from about the chest up. She's in the water, and she's stuck on some debris on the side of the creek right here. I wonder if we can get a view of the creek from over here. I didn't try this before. Maybe, maybe not. No, you can't see it. So he runs back to his apartment. He knocks on his neighbor's door. He's friends with his next door neighbors, and he asks the gentleman in that apartment to. He tells his wife, who's in his apartment, and he tells the next door neighbors, and the gentleman goes back down with him to make sure, because of this current is coming through this creek right now. The creek is really high from this rainstorm, and they want to make sure that it doesn't the body doesn't get knocked loose and they lose her again downstream somewhere. So the neighbor's wife ends up calling 911 and saying, I think we found Amber. And this caused some suspicion about Stuart, because how would Stuart know that it was Amber at that time? It was dark out, but I think the reason why he said, I think I found Amber, is because little girls didn't go missing in this area very often. And the chances that it was somebody else, especially being peppered on the news every time there's a news cycle, being peppered by where's Amber, they have her crying mother on television. It was a whole thing. So I think he assumed it was Amber. He assumed correctly that it was Amber, but because when he reported it, he said, I found Amber, everyone's like, what's up, Stuart? Turns out he had an alibi for the whole time. It wasn't him, by the way. They also, in the days leading up to finding her, they ruled out everyone in Amber's family. Her dad, who was the abusive guy, they have him on camera at a storage facility at the exact time. The fact that they knew an exact time that she was abducted helped rule people out too, because they knew that he was at the storage facility doing whatever he was doing there, because there's video camera. There was a close friend of the family who happened to drive a black pickup truck who was also ruled out, but he was under suspicion for a while. They were leaving no stone unturned. By the way, from what I understand, in doing my research, you cannot swing a dead cat in Texas without hitting a black pickup truck. I guess there's a lot of them, or there was in 1996. Maybe there still is. I know in Georgia, a lot of people drive pickup trucks, but I guess there's even more in Texas. Any of Texas people that are in the chat right now, let me know. Is there does everybody have a black pickup truck in Texas? Because even though they had such a clear description of the vehicle, they still couldn't narrow it down enough to find her that night or within the next 2 days, or however long. And the cops did that night pull over every black pickup truck that they saw, looking like just doing car checks, which I'm not sure is legal to do, but they did it, and I'm okay with it. If I'm okay with it. That's fine. That's just me. All right, we're going to take a little break right now, and we're going to give Ava a treat. Thanks to Erica for purchasing a treat for Ava. Before I do that, I'm going to pull this up over here so I can see if anybody else is buying Ava treat or Xena treats. Nope, just Erica so far. Thank you very much, Erica. I appreciate that so much. Oh no, did Ava leave? Huh. Let me call her. She left. I'll get her when she comes back in. She'll come back in. Maybe she's outside. That's her cue to come in. If she comes back in, I'll give her a treat. If not, I will give Xena another one. She can just get fat. That's fine. Xena's the innocent angel anyway. She deserves treats. I don't know about Ava. Roseanne said she used to have a black pickup truck. No, I'm not eating a dog treat for $100. I'm not doing it. By the way, News No Enemy, our mother saw that episode on Hoghound Media and told me to never do that again. And you've met our mother, and she said not to do it again. I'm not doing it again. So stop it. I'm going to tell on you. I know she's not even in town right now. I will call her. I will call her. No, mom said no. Mom said no. There's nothing I could do about it. Mom said no. So, the I know she's not here. She sees all, though. You know she's going to be watching the replay of this wherever she is in the world. Mom said no. He's guys, my brother's trying to get me in trouble right now. I don't like it. I don't like it. He's always trying to get me in trouble. Isn't that cool? All right, this is the tough part. I was gonna try to lighten it up a little bit with a Ava treat, but she left, so just checking. Yeah, she's not here. So I'm gonna get to the tough part. So Amber was found partially submerged in that creek on January 17th, 1996. And her throat was slashed. She had no signs of sexual abuse. However, the police made sure to make it known that just because there was not signs of that does not mean it didn't happen. Just because there's not evidence of it doesn't mean it didn't happen, which is, I guess, true in all sexual abuse. Luckily, she was submerged just from the neck up because they did find male DNA on her years and years later. We'll get to that. The medical examiner determined that she had died 2 days earlier. So she had died within the man kept her for a couple of days is the point I'm trying to make. And I say man because there was a witness this time, but almost always it's a man. Almost always. Even if there wasn't a witness. Coincidentally, that documentary we were talking about was scheduled to come out that day. It never aired. But there's a lot of the footage that they took in a documentary that came out, I think, this year on Peacock about this case that I highly recommend if you're interested in stories like this. I cried. I watched it a couple of times and I just bawled my eyes out through the whole thing twice because they're showing the footage of Amber and then telling the story of what happened to her. So just get a box of tissue before you start that documentary. I think it's called Amber Alert, and it's on Peacock. So all this has happened. The case goes cold. We don't know who did this, guys. Like I don't like covering unsolved cases because I am the type of person, my brain needs a happy ending. I need to have things wrapped up. So I don't cover a whole lot of cold cases. That being said, if you happen to be in Texas or were in Texas in 1996 and you happen to know anything about this, please contact the Arlington Police Department. I doubt that between the 10 people that see this is going to, happen to be somebody who knows something about this that hadn't reported it yet. I think everybody who's in here is probably good people who, if they knew something, they would say something, But the reason I am covering it is because there is a happy ending, or a happy-ish ending anyway. There's a woman named Diana Simone, and she sees Amber's story. Like I said, it's a big deal in the area at this time. It's a huge thing that happened, and it's all over the news. And she thinks to herself, you know what? I didn't see this until 6 o'clock, and it happened 3 hours earlier. And that guy could be, 100 miles away in 3 hours, more than, this guy could be really far away by now, and I'm just learning about it now. Oh, Ava's back. All right, Ava gets a treat. Ava gets a treat because Erica's All right. Ava got her treat. Is my microphone working? It says it's not. Oh, yeah, it's working. Okay. Thank you so much. The pups definitely appreciate it. Look at them laying all nice next to each other now. That doesn't happen very often. You must have, like, you've like, I think because Erica loves the dog so much, they're starting to love each other a lot now too. I gave Xena one. Actually, Xena's had two because I gave Xena one the first time and then I just gave them each one. Xena's fine. She'll be. Look at the chunk on her. She'll be fine. She doesn't need another one. Yeah, I gave her one. I appreciate it. Everybody who supports the show, if you like the show enough, if I've earned your subscription, please subscribe. If I've done enough to get a like out of you, I appreciate you hitting that button as well. I'm going to get back to the story. So Diana Simone sees the story and she thinks to herself, hey, I didn't see this till 6 o'clock. This guy could be miles away by now. We need to come up with something where people can hear this immediately. And she realizes in 1996, what is like 90% of people who are driving in their car doing in 1996? They're listening to the radio. I don't think very many people listen to the actual radio anymore in their car. Maybe they do. I haven't in years. But I'm weird. I haven't watched TV or like actual TV or listened to an actual radio in years. So it might just be me. But in 1996, everybody was. So she calls in. There's a news radio show discussing the case afterwards. And she calls in with this idea of, hey, what if all the radio stations, when something like this happens, can put some sort of alert out to everyone who's in their cars, because me seeing this in my home at 6 o'clock after I'm done driving for the day is not helping find these kids. And she's absolutely right. What would help is if I learned about it, the description of the vehicle and who I was looking for while I was still in my car driving. So she ends up, like I said, calling into a radio station, and this ends up getting implemented in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. And Amber's mom is one of the big reasons why this happened and why it went nationwide. It's amazing, this story, how all this came together. Another thing that Amber's mom did is she initiated. Do you see this terrorist over here? Poor Xena just wants to take a nap. She initiated the National Sex Offenders List. And when I was reading about it, the National Sex Offenders List, that was Amber's mom, Donna's idea, got signed into a bill by Bill Clinton, which is kind of ironic, what we know now. Bill Clinton's the one that made the National Sex Offenders Registry List. But she's the one that got that done. She testified before Congress. Like, she really put herself out there to get this stuff done. You know, after having a tragedy, like, I would think I would just want to go hide in a hole somewhere. But man, she is awesome. She's amazing. So in 1996, the Amber Alert system began in Dallas-Fort Worth when broadcasters teamed up with local police to develop an early warning system to help find abducted children. I'm going to put a link in the chat right now. And when I'm done going over the timeline of the Amber Alert, I'm going to take a few calls. So if you do want to call in, we'll do that today. Amber stands for America's Missing Broadcast Emergency Response. The acronym was created as a legacy to 9-year-old Amber Hagerman, who was kidnapped while riding her bicycle in Arlington, Texas, then brutally murdered. In 2002, so a few years later, the first ever White House conference on missing, exploited, and runaway children, was held, and the Amber Alert became nationally focused. So they started to try to get this spread out everywhere in 1996. In 2002. It started in 1996. 2003, on April 30th, the president, then was President Bush, signed into law the PROTECT Act, which comprehensively strengthened law enforcement's abilities to prevent, investigate, prosecute, and punish violent crimes committed against children. This was another thing that Amber's mom brought to the government. In 2005, so not that even that far. So they started to try to go national in 2002. In 2005, the 50th state to complete its statewide Amber Alert plan, which was Hawaii, created a network of plans that ended up finishing the network of plans nationwide. So Hawaii was the last one to get on board. They did get on board in 2005. In 2012, October 31st, 2012, Google initiates an Amber Alerts into their public service and 3 search engines. On December 18th, an Amber Alert notification is sent for the very first time using a wireless emergency alert system. So that's what we get now on our cell phones. So that started in 2012 was the first one of those that got sent. And on January 1st, 2013, the wireless system, the one in 2012 was like a test. And then January 1st, 2013 is when it went full into effect, the wireless emergency Amber Alert system. On January 13th, this is still 2013, alerts go live on Twitter using the handle Amber Alert, @AmberAlert. And the same year in February, an 8-month-old child is abducted from his home. A teenager saw the wireless alert message and notified her father, resulting in a successful rescue of a child due to the wireless emergency alert system. Jerry jumped in here. Jerry, I have one more video that I want to play, and then I'll get you in here. So hang tight. Hang backstage for a minute. If you guys do want to call in about this, anything about the Amber Alerts, I'd love to hear your take on what you do when you hear an Amber Alert, because I'm thinking there's so many these days that a lot of people ignore them, which is kind of terrible, but I have some ideas on why that's happening. So recently on Crimeland, I covered a story of a girl who was rescued. And I did not know when I covered that story that the reason she was rescued is because of the Amber Alert system. So this is about a little girl named Salem Sabaka. And we're going to play this real quick.
All right, what we're watching right now is video just in of the breaking news we have been following all night. This is of an 8-year-old kidnapped in Fort Worth. Police shared this video from a home down the block near Loden Street and 6th Avenue. You see here, this is on a front porch. It's looking out in the street. This is a neighbor's security camera. And there in the back, you see someone running. Police say this is the mother of 8-year-old Salem Sabatka. And you can hear her yelling in this truly chilling video. Salem and her mother, were told, were out walking. This is a picture of her. This is who police are looking for tonight. They were walking down the street, and at some point, we're told, a gentleman grabbed Salem and pulled her into a car. They are calling this a kidnapping. And what we saw in that video was her mother trying to get inside the car and then chasing after it, calling for help. This, again,
that I'm muted. That is so scary. And the fact that it was captured on that Ring camera and the gentleman was right there to call the police, it's so reminiscent. And it's just a few miles up the road from where Amber was kidnapped. It was in the Fort Worth area. So it's not too far from where this all started. And the similarities when I saw this story of the neighbor seeing it, an old man seeing it and being the one to call the police, and it, like I said at the beginning, it did not work out for Amber, but I have good news in this case. I got to end stuff on a high note.
Picture of Salem. She is 4 feet 5 inches tall. You see brown hair and brown eyes. If you see her, police want you to call 911 immediately. Now, again, this happened around 6:30 this evening. Police are calling it a kidnapping. They don't have many details on the suspect's description, but they are working on that. We had a live picture of this scene. There were several police officers there trying to gather what details they could to provide some sort of suspect description. We have that video. We have Salem's picture, the Ring camera video we just showed you on WFAA.com if you want to see that and more info on her, as police ask for your help in finding Salem and bringing her home safe. We'll have the latest tomorrow morning on Daybreak, and as always, we will have breaking details on WFAA.com.
That's when Salem was kidnapped. And then this is the video footage that we saw on Crimeland the other day where she's rescued. And this is a 3-minute long video, and it is both heartbreaking and joyful at the same time. It's an emotional roller coaster, you guys. Just like, get some tissue ready.
Police department, open the door!
So what happened is somebody saw them check into this hotel and called the police because they saw the Amber Alert, and they paid attention to the Amber Alert and the description of the car and the description of the dude. They paid attention to it, and because of that, we get this amazing rescue by these amazing police who I don't understand how they did not beat the man silly when they found him in the hotel room with this little girl, because I don't know if I would have been able to control myself, but that's just me.
Open the door! Open it now!
Sorry about the language.
Break it. Open it! Door. Hands! Let me see your hands! Step out here! Step out! Step out!
Get on the ground. Shield.
Get on the ground!
Shield.
Blood in the bed, blood in the bed. Blood in the bed, man. Hey, here she is.
Got her. We got her.
If you notice, when they pull this little girl out of this pile of clothes that he tried to hide her under, she's found in the same state that Amber was found in, meaning she was undressed in the room with this man in this hotel room. It's heartbreaking, guys.
Got her. Yes. Hey, buddy. I got it. She's in custody. We have her.
How are they not beating the snot out of this guy in the hallway right now? How are they not beating the snot out of him? I don't get it.
We need an EMT. Get call MedStar. Yes. No. Don't worry about your clothes. Don't worry about your clothes.
We got a towel? We got a towel? Who have it? Can we cover her up?
I'm glad that police officer had enough foresight to grab a towel and cover her up, because you'll see when they go downstairs, there's people outside, including the child's parents, who heard, like, they're listening to radio scanners and stuff and go to this location, and there's people filming outside.
Can we cover her up?
Yeah.
With something?
Here
you go, baby. Can we get her out?
Come here.
Let's go. Come on, sweetheart.
You're okay? You're safe?
It's heartbreaking.
You're gonna be okay. We got her. Hold the door. Hey, back off, guys. Back off. Please, just back off.
Riz, they found her. They found her. We have her.
Hey, Hayes, let's go. Let's get her in here so she can sit down. Guys, listen. Just stay there for me, okay? Hey, do me a favor. Can you?
This is the father.
Okay. Just hold on, okay?
What's this place called? What's this place?
It's the Woodbridge Suites.
Woodward Suites?
It's in Forest Hill.
Here's that. Here's that. It's crazy footage. The fact that there's no sound on the surveillance footage, but the fact that this guy is not bloody when he leaves this hotel is amazing to me. The amount of restraint that all of these guys, every single one of them here, showed is amazing. They are tweaking his arms a little bit there. I approve. I approve of that. I hope they don't double lock those cuffs. I hope they're super duper tight. Is that wrong? Am I going to hell? Probably. All right, I'm going to get Jerry in here first, and then I have number 2 behind the scenes as well. Jerry, how are you? What do you think?
Am I in? Oh,
you're in. You're on the show.
That was I wasn't ready for the that other part. I'm like all pumped now. Like my adrenaline is all like high. I was
right?
like. I was like, yeah. I was like, get up, put your knee on it. Oh, come on, get a baton up in there or something.
I remember when I first covered that story, I didn't realize that she was found because of an Amber Alert. So when I saw, I started researching cases that the Amber Alert worked out because, you know me, I don't like to have a sad story without a happy ending. I either want the crime to be solved, I want justice, I want something. So when I saw that was a story that I had already covered and it was because of an Amber Alert, it just brings a little bit of joy back into my cold heart.
Well, it does feel good because it's like when most of the time when you hear these stories, it's always like the kid went missing and where did they turn up? The kid went missing, and where did they turn up? It's and as somebody who consumes a lot of true crime, it's like you just get used to it. A kid gets kidnapped, and that's it. They're done. You don't even give it a chance. In your heart because you want to, as much as you want to, as long as that kid didn't come within the next hour or 2 hours, it's like that's it. That kid is done. There's no coming back.
Yep. Well, statistically speaking, most kids do end up coming back. Here, let me throw this up here. 78% of child abductions are non-custodial parents, which is, I think, one of the reasons why a lot of people ignore the Amber Alerts, because they're in the hands of a parent. It's just the parent that the court doesn't deem is the correct parent for that particular time period. So they're not in necessarily any danger. It's a very small percentage of children that are abducted by a stranger who are also in danger, like Amber and obviously this Salem, young lady named Salem. But as far as the ones that are abducted by a stranger, when they're killed within 2 days. So it's like that 48 hour. They made a whole show about 48 hour, the first 48 or whatever.
Yeah.
So the non-family abductions, like stereotypical kidnappings. Where was the statistic? 4% the child is never recovered. So it's a small percentage. So of the 10-ish% that are non-custodial parent kidnappings, of stranger kidnappings, only 4% of that percent, they never find the kid. So what do you do when you see an Amber Alert? Obviously, hopefully, the point of doing this is that people will do something different than they've already been doing by seeing this. But prior to today, when you got one of those alerts on your phones, what did you read it? Did you keep an eye out, or did you kind of ignore it like most people?
If I had to be completely honest about it, I turned off the notification. Not because I don't think it's
I didn't even
important.
know you could do that.
I don't think it's just so loud. Like it interrupts very badly. But I guess it's supposed to be that way.
Yeah.
But yeah,
it is supposed to. That is by design. Yeah.
Yeah, but I turned off the notification. I feel guilty about that now.
Yeah. I think people need to pay more attention, but I also think that the system is a little flawed. I think that we could brainstorm and come up with a better system. Oh, there's an echo. Oh, I know why there's an echo. Sorry. No, it's on my end. Sorry, I fixed it. That's my bad. Say something, Jerry. I think I fixed it.
Talk.
Yeah. It didn't sound echoey to me, but if I don't mute that, when I pulled that screen up, the echo comes back if I don't mute it. So my bad.
No,
it's not Jerry. So stop saying stuff about Jerry. Jerry's fine. It's me. It was me. I didn't press the right buttons at the right time.
Push the buttons, Katie. Push the buttons.
I know. I pushed them now. It should be fine.
Yeah, it's gone. It's gone.
But yeah, I think they need to have a separate alert system, maybe named after a different child that is family abductions, as opposed to I think Amber Alert should be just for what says here, the non-family abductions and stereotypical kidnappings, because if you're getting less of them, I think more people would pay attention to them.
Yeah,
but in a case where it's like the mom took the dad on the mom took the kid on the dad's day, or vice versa, like these ones up here, I think they need to have a different alert for that. Maybe.
Yeah. It would be nice. I think that the where something like that gets muddled up is that if there is known to be like a more serious one, say like a 911 version or whatever, I think that there'll be people that abuse it, like families that are actually in like turmoil will abuse it to get. I just see that happening. You know what I mean? Where say like a vindictive mom, like will use the emergency one to get the dad into extra trouble, so they can make sure they hunt them down or something. But yeah, I don't mind them. I never mind like having an alert. It's just the alert itself was just way too much. It would come on, it'll make my my phone screen like a different color, and then I would have to like try to like turn it off, and sometimes it'll be like in the movie theater or something, so it's like it's one of those things where it's like,
but here's the thing, everybody else's, if you're in the movie theater, everyone else's phone is doing the exact same thing at the same time.
Exactly.
So.
Exactly. I'm not saying that like I said, as far as it getting everybody's attention, it does a great job of getting everybody's attention. I just think that it's one of those things where it's like, if you think it's important, then you should have it on. And I think that there's no easy way of making it uninconvenient. So I guess you just have to inconvenience yourself if there's a child out there abducted. And you know what? Now that I think about it, I'm gonna turn it back on. I don't care if it gets loud or whatever.
I was gonna, if you said you weren't going to, I was gonna play that video again for you of that girl getting rescued.
No, you know what?
Think about it.
The thing is that we're so selfish, like at certain times of our lives, you know what I mean? When we're not thinking about things like that, we think like, what's this noise or whatever, But it takes reminders like that, and that's why it's good to watch true crime and stories like this for you to remember, like why these things are said. And I promise I am going to turn it back on. I'm not gonna leave it off anymore. As annoying as it is, as much as I hate the sound and everything, I'm gonna still do it.
Awesome. So anything else you want to say about Amber, or how awesome her mom is, or the Amber Alert system in general?
Well, I just all I really wanted to say was like, I'm glad that you told the story, because I always heard about the Amber Alert system. I just never knew exactly who it was for, like who was in honor of. So now that I know the story, I get it.
Yeah.
And that other story that you showed was kind of it kind of threw me off guard, because I didn't know you were going to show that. So I'm like, oh, like I said, it got my adrenaline going and everything. I'm like, this is that thing where like, I wish people would pay attention more to things like this instead of like those stupid frauditor videos, because you see the cops, like you said, it would be okay if we saw them start pummeling this guy, right? But that's how professional they are. You know,
Yeah,
like they didn't pummel this guy, and they had every
hmm,
right to. And this guy was gonna do
absolutely.
the most terrible thing that we could imagine, and they, simply did an arrest, and it goes to show how much these people, like not only are they on the side of justice, but they 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 carry it and they live it like with integrity and honor, like because anybody else could have easily just punched that guy out. I mean, and it would have been okay, but it's not okay with them, and they did what they had to do. And the big ups, like a lot of props to those cops. I absolutely like, my heart goes out to cops like that have integrity and fight for people like that.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
yeah,
absolutely. Well, I appreciate your call today.
thank you, and I hope you enjoyed my new mic.
It sounds so much better. I'm sorry I messed it up with not pressing the right buttons.
No, you're fine.
All
I, I
right.
I really wanted you to enjoy my new mic. That's why.
It's amazing. I'm so happy for you.
Thank you. I'll see you around.
All right. Have a good one, Jerry. I'm going to get Karen in here.
You do that. Bye.
All right. Bye. Karen number 2, you're on the air.
Hi.
Oh, there she is.
I'm
Hi.
here. Can you see me?
Is there still a weird delay? You and I were talking before the show and there was a weird delay.
I don't know. As long as we sound okay, I guess. Who cares? Yeah.
That's fine. So what do you think?
Okay, so this has always been like one of my huge fears. When I was like, I think I was like 7 or 8. I went to work with my mom, and there was a gas station nearby, and I used to always walk to this gas station and go get candy and stuff like that. And this one time, I see this guy standing at like the corner of this one business, and he starts looking towards me. Scared the shit out of me. I swear to God, I thought I was going to be kidnapped that day. It was very scary. So
yeah,
and I was real little. So I was like, what is going on? I mean, it was nuts. It was nuts. So that's always been like a huge fear of mine. And so, and obviously,
I know ever since that Delphi thing happened near you too, with your own kids,
Yeah, and I have kids. Yeah. It's just always been a huge fear of mine. And I had no idea that it started as late as it did. What would you say, 2013, 13 or 14 is when the first one started?
Well, it was on radio stations. They would interrupt broadcasting on radio stations and TV stations prior to that. And I forget the date, but I could get it. But it didn't start coming over to the cell phones until January 1st, 2013.
Okay.
Why is he?
Yeah, oh boy. But yeah, so I thought that it was way before then that happened, that we started getting those alerts. But, and either way,
it feels like
I'm glad. Yeah. And when I get one of those alerts, I never turn it off. I always read all the information. If I'm, out and about, I'm a little more aware because it has always been one of my, look at your psycho dog. It's always been one of my fears. It's always, yeah. She wants it dead. She's gonna rip a hole in that. You're gonna have
she
stuff
is
all over your room. Yeah, and then that last story. Oh my gosh, that one gets me every time. It gets me every time.
Were you on the air with me when we first played that? Or am I misremembering that?
No, I was.
I thought so.
And that one. Yeah. That one is so hard. That poor baby. That poor baby. Just crazy. And I didn't know it was from an Amber Alert either. So, yeah.
Yeah, I did. Yeah, exactly. I just saw, I think what caught my attention originally with that story is that when the cops went outside, there was people there and they're like, back up guys. And it reminded me of like the frauditor videos where could you imagine if there was frauditors there trying to record when they're bringing this girl down, just wrapped in a towel. I lost audio on you for some reason. So I'm going to get Erica in here. Your audio is gone, number 2. I don't know what happened. It's not me. I didn't press buttons. Okay. Hey, Erica. How are you?
I need 1 second.
Okay.
Can I have 1 second? Thanks.
I'm going to mute you and just unmute yourself when you're ready. I'm just going to... Okay, we'll play a video. We'll play a video until Erica comes back. So I have one more video. This is what's going on in the like case updates for Amber's case that I forgot to play earlier. So I'm glad. All right. Oh. On the afternoon of January 13, 1996, 9-year-old Amber Hagerman was riding her bike in a parking lot in the 1600 block of East Abram Street. A witness told officers he saw a man get out of a black pickup truck, grab Amber off her bike, and force her into his vehicle. The witness said the truck left the parking lot. You guys can read. I can't read that fast. I can't read out loud that fast. Oh, who am I kidding? I can't read that fast.
I miss her every day.
So I think this is a news conference.
She just...
This woman right here is a hero. A hero. And the fact that she's still getting on TV and still fighting for these causes
so
is
full of
amazing.
life. And I want to know why. Why her? She was only a little girl.
I would love to be able to give Donna and Ricky and the rest of the members of their family the answer to the question that they would like to know. And of course that is, who did this to Amber, and bring that person to justice. Reason.
Imagine the grandfather getting there and seeing that bicycle just laying there with no kid. I'll put the link in the chat again for you,
to
Erica.
search their minds and bring forward anything that may be value to our investigation.
So it's saying here, Salacious just asked in the chat about DNA. New technologies have emerged that may be able to help develop a DNA profile. The Arlington Police Department announced that it plans to submit evidence in the case later this year for cutting edge testing. So they're trying DNA testing where before it wasn't even a possibility. Okay, that's the end of the video anyway. So
I'm here.
So you don't echo. Hi.
Am I echoing?
No,
Do I need to
click the correct buttons this time. I learned my lesson.
Okay. So I'm outside and I'm trying to maneuver around the lawnmower. My story is, you know, my background with Josh, BTS, whatever. So we have been taking care of his daughter since she was 9 months old. And
in case people don't know who you are, this is your brother's daughter.
Correct. Yes. Okay. So we have been taking care of her since 9 months old, like living in our home. But prior to that, CPS got involved when she was less than 2 months old. So how crazy her mother was and the people she hung around with and the places she stayed. And I'm talking before Josh became a harm, if you want to say it that way. She would say, if I don't have my daughter, nobody's going to have my daughter. And
That's
scared.
scary.
It's very scary. And
I might have to rethink my my plan about having a different alert for parental, because in my head I was thinking, well, if it's a parent, then they're not really in physical danger as much. So they, I'm just trying to think of a way where people won't ignore it. Yeah,
exactly. I
that
mean,
changes my whole outlook.
it really is. And going through the CPS and foster care system, I'm not sure if you're like familiar how in depth it is. However, Addison's biological mom had I know you don't like swear words, a kick-ass public defender for her. And no, it wasn't. She twisted things. She twisted things to where her mom had been, she already had a 3rd-degree child endangerment against her 9-year-old daughter, who she lost custody of. And this is all in hindsight after Josh and Shannon, BT, what is it, BSBT, had their daughter.
What was she being defended? Like, what was the crime that she was in court for?
Well, it was identity theft of her 16-year-old daughter's identity. And she was an alcoholic. She was a drug abuser. So she had to steal to get things. So we're going through the CPS process. Josh is living with us, and Addison's mom, like I said, gets this awesome attorney, and she is sentenced to a facility here in Michigan to 1 year, and it was a homeless shelter in downtown Pontiac, Michigan, which is like a smaller Detroit, Michigan. And she was staying at this shelter, and foster care ordered us to drop this 18-month-old baby off on Thursday to Saturday at a homeless shelter. And there were multiple times that her mom would say, well, I'm not going to be there, so just drop Addison off to so-and-so. And there was no way on God's green earth I was going to drop her off.
Somebody you don't even know.
And living in a homeless shelter. And you know what? I mean, homelessness comes in many fashions. And I'm not discriminating against that. It was the courts that said you have to drop this baby off to her mom at an unsafe environment. And she had said to me many times, if I'm not having Addison, nobody is. And she was released from this facility and put into a halfway house sponsored by this homeless shelter, this church, which is great. But when she had Addison, and Addison was 2.5, she blew a .24 in her alcohol limit. And the people that she had...
And this was a test, like, they do tests like when they're going to court or going in, so she knew she could get tested.
And all the foster care system cares about is a 3-month period. Did you screw up in 3 months? Nope. Then you're on your forward. Like, we were in foster care system for, I think it's 28 months, which is unheard of in our situation. And every time we would drop Addison off, my fear was her biological mother, met up with some loser, was going to take off with Addison. And I would get an Amber Alert about her.
Yeah.
It was a fear every day of trying to protect a child that the foster care system put you in charge of. And I'm sorry, like you're in Georgia, correct?
Correct. Yeah.
Yeah. In Michigan, I don't know the rules, but in order for us to even have, like, my son, who is now 31, babysit, he had to fill out a background check. And we had multiple friends of ours that, I mean, I couldn't commit to a Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday if we'd need a babysitter, if she was sick. So we filled out all these applications of caregivers through CPS. And our workers said, we have never had so many people submit applications for a child's like well-being. And my point is we're surrounded by God-fearing, productive, happy, I mean, nobody's happy, but productive people. And it was my fear every time I had to drop Addison off to her biological mother. If an Amber Alert, like, that was my fear. I lived in fear for that.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad you're, for the most part, done with that now.
Yeah, I mean, it is now. I mean, she passed, unfortunately, in 2020 from drug and alcohol. And I will tell you that I forgave her, and through forgiving her, I got baptized. She and I she was going through AA. She was trying, and I'm 52. She's 9 days younger than me. So it's not like she was like some 20-some-year-old kind of thing. But she came to me and she made amends, and she apologized for everything. And she and I sat on the phone and cried. And I went on a girls' weekend the next weekend, and I was telling one of my girlfriends, I'm like, I have no more hate in my heart for her. I can't. I'm not a healthy person with hate. And my girlfriend, like, gave her life to Christ many, many, many years ago. She's from South Carolina. She came up to Michigan. She's like, Erica, I had a vision that somebody was going to give their life to Jesus Christ. They were going to, and I'm like, that's me. The next morning, they baptized me, which I wasn't legally baptized in a church, but I was baptized by my followers who believe. And I have no more hate for her, no more hate for Addison's biological mother, even though, like, I lived that fear of an Amber Alert. And this is how I know God is good, because I prayed, I had everybody praying, and she's 10 and a half now. She's spoiled, she's sassy. She's beautiful, she's intelligent. I just now need Josh to allow her to continue on a positive forward path. He has gotten in touch with her and told her a lot of untruths lately that, you know, I still worry. I mean, Josh came around here 4 times trying to
Mm-hmm.
kidnap Addison. And the last
The
time
stories that you
resulted,
were telling, the stories that you were telling on that stream the other day were horrifying with the birthday party and all. Like, it's terrifying.
yeah, and I mean, the last time Josh came, my husband was arrested for domestic violence because
Mm-hmm.
Josh was trying to kidnap his daughter from our yard.
Yeah.
And I hear little footsteps, so if I mute it, that may be why. But you know, my husband, you know, I told you the story of
Oh, I think your audio cut out. Oh, we lost Erica. Let's see if we can get her back in here. Are you there?
me. Did I lose you?
I think we lost. Oh, yep. Now I can hear you.
Okay, sorry. But my husband at 52, for the first time in his life, got arrested and spent the night in jail because he was protecting Addison. And it's honestly like a good thing because God is good. So there was an off-duty
All of the
Oakland
time.
County sheriff coming back the back roads from Home Depot or Lowe's with flowers, and his wife was in the vehicle.
Mm-hmm.
My husband's a carrier. He always has his gun on him, and he was in the vehicle punching my brother with his left, and his gun's on his left. So this Oakland County off-duty sheriff saw him, put his sirens on, and within minutes, like 5, 6 police officers. And my husband's dad had passed that prior February.
Mm-hmm.
And until my husband's dad passed, he really didn't feel any kind of connection to religion, to God, nothing. And on that day, he said, my dad sent that Oakland County sheriff to get me arrested because I would have probably spent the rest of my life in prison had they not been there so quickly. And we're
There's
not
always a
violent
plan.
people. We're not violent people. I mean, my son's 31. He makes more money than I do. He is a great dad, a great husband, has his own home. His dad and I have a great relationship, and 10.5 years ago, when my son was 21, we got thrown into this position of raising another person's child. And when I found out they were pregnant, I was not happy at all. Neither one of them were in a position to be parents. And I mean, when I say I raised Addison since she was 9 months old, I pretty much raised her since 3 weeks old. I would go out of my way, pick her up, and these two people who didn't work had more errands, and I'm air quoting errands, to run than 5 working families have. And my girlfriend gave me a crib. We had it all set up, and I would pick her up, and in the morning I would drop her off because they would call at 9:30, 10 o'clock. Oh, we're done running our errands. Sorry, your baby's already asleep and bathed, fed, sleeping. I'll take you. So it was more like a daycare. They were the daycare when we worked during the day. And Josh will go on and slander me. I'm this, I'm that, blah, 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 blah. And you know what? I have receipts for everything that I have done. If you ever are
Mhm.
interested, I have CPS records going back from when Addison was born to fire. I mean,
Yeah.
I know it's a long story,
It
but
sounds like
the Amber alerts are so important with
Mhm.
even
Absolutely.
biological parents.
Mm.
And the only thing
I'm
I
I'm
ever
so glad you
care to
called in.
do, I know, sorry, I just keep going
Well,
on.
well, no, just because in my head going into this, I was thinking that people don't pay attention to them because there's too many, and we need to figure out a way to like make it so people pay attention to it more.
This
But
could be
after
your
hearing your
your
story, we need a new plan.
yeah, it could be your grandchild, it could be your your niece, your
Mhm.
nephew, your neighbor's child, and
Yeah.
everybody just while I love my pets, I mean I have 25 chickens, I have 3 cats, I have a dog. No, there was a bill to support animal abuse before child abuse. And
Yeah.
that's disgusting to me because
Mhm.
one mistake in a child's life ruins them. One mistake. One mistake.
Yeah.
I know.
Exactly.
So I know I've taken up a lot more time than you
Oh,
usually
you're fine.
like to take,
You are
but
always welcome.
um,
But
when
I do
you
want to
were
say that God put the right people in the right place in your situation. I think. I
absolutely,
think everything happens for a reason, and I think Addison's going to be fine.
I hope so. I mean, I have her in 2 different counselings. I have her on, in the
Mhm.
IEP program, that kind of thing. She hasn't seen her dad in person in 3 years, I think, since
Yeah.
he started on drugs. And
Mhm.
we get Josh's son from his other relationship pretty much once a week or twice a week.
Yeah.
So,
That's good that she's got a relationship with her sibling.
they're very, very, very jealous of each other. Very. Because
Yeah.
Addison doesn't understand this, like, safety reason why she can't go with her dad. And every time she
Yeah.
goes with her dad, he puts it on social media. And that's not safe.
Yeah.
Like you said, not safe. Do not film kids. Do not film women. Like how do they know that we're not hiding from, like you said, an
Exactly.
abusive relationship?
Yep.
And that's what angers me about the
Mhm.
predators and safety of children.
Yep.
I'm sorry. I keep going on. I'm sorry.
Exactly.
Like
No, you're fine.
I'm a platform for kids. If I could adopt 6,000 kids and raise them, sorry, I would. I save one kid, you know?
Yeah. Well, I hope that my show today, I know at least for Jerry, he's turned back on his notifications for Amber Alerts. And I hope that happens to where people just at least read them, make a mental note of the vehicle, description, and just keep your eyes
Yes.
peeled, especially if you're out on the road. Just make a mental note of it. That's all. That's all I ask.
Yeah. I know. We just had, I said it before, we just had a Amber Alert for a 2-year-old, and it
Hmm.
was the mother's, it was an unbiological, like relative, but he was the
Family member.
boyfriend. Yep. And he was, I think he stabbed the mom and then took
Oh,
off with the 2-year-old baby. And we got the Amber Alert like throughout the day. And it's like, then the next day he had caused a police case resulting in him crashing and having damages, and was being treated in the local hospital, but wouldn't speak of where the little girl was. And the minute they found him, they found her dead in an alley, 2 years old. Her name was Winter Smith. I know, it's horrible. So, but I appreciate you letting me come up. I love your channel. I love your content.
You're
I'm a true crime fanatic.
Thank you. Thank you so much. You're always welcome to come up at the end. I do take calls at the end of almost every show. So
I know, and I know you just
coming on.
Thank you. Bye, Zena. Bye, Ava.
They appreciate the milk bones as well. I appreciate that.
I hope so. Thanks.
Have a good one. Bye. All right, guys. So, have you changed your mind? Let me know if you've turned on your notifications, or if you've had them on and you just ignore them. If you're going to pay attention to them now, let me know in the chat. I'm going to wrap it up here. Don't forget to hit the like button. If I've earned your subscription, please hit the subscribe button. What else do I say? I should probably write this stuff down. I think I'm going to put Amber's face up here just at the end, just because she's saved so many kids because of what happened to her. And she really needs to be recognized for that. So I appreciate each and every one of you coming out. Next week, let me look at my calendar. I think next week is Sky King week. I think next week is, I'm on the wrong month. Yes, Sky King week next week. I believe Stephen Ignoramus is coming on with me for the Sky King episode. It will be way more upbeat and fun than this episode. If you have any stories like Erica had, put them in the comments after we're done being live. I wanna know more about this, and I want to know if the Amber Alert has ever affected you, or if you've ever had a story like Erica did. And let's brainstorm and figure out a way how we can get more people to pay attention to the Amber Alerts. I appreciate each and every one of you. I will see you 4:30 next week, Sunday afternoon, for Sky King Sunday with my one of my best friends. I almost said my best friend, but my best friend is number 2, and she's behind the scenes right now. So one of my best friends, Stephen Ignoramus, next week. Have a good day, guys. Bye.
First Florida man was Hernando de Soto. First Florida man, Hernando de Soto. First Florida man was Hernando de Soto. Won't you so loco? Show off your photos, throw out your Twinkies, throw up your ho-hos, tuck in them pinkies. Them shits a no-no. The first Florida man was Hernando de Soto. Brought to my attention by the man with the mojo. My 8th subscriber, I'm a bagoso. Jump in them sinkies and dump them mimosos. The first Florida man was Hernando de Soto. First Florida man was Hernando de Soto. First Florida man was Hernando de Soto.
Looking for new thrills, needed a new track of land. I used to dig The Simpsons, man. Bumping Biggie, Pop, Smash Mouth, and Simple Plan. No scrubs for the crease in my pimples, damn. From the south streets of southeast Michigan, hitting shuffle till I settled on a different jam. And when a dime won't do, a better nickel can. And let me tell you, when I used to dig them Simpsons, man. A funny thing about time, you can't get it back. A tight grip, but it rips the jacket. Slight lisp with a mix of traffic. You see about me, like Mr. Glass, always wished I was a whiz at graphics. Take me back to the past. past where the hits were massive. You could hear Gladys Knight and the Pips on plastic, misfit molasses. Delete my contacts just so I can stick to glasses. Feel that skipped out so I miss the classics. Aristotle of the bottle, Seneca of the sinful action, senator of the simple maxim. I swear for a skillful Saxon, I'm still relaxing. Who wanna take a dip in the mind sauce, making up for the time lost, forgetting all my past was when I sign off. Prime bribe, prime rib, Agent Smith, crime boss, popping red pills till my mind's off, mind's off.
First Florida man. Endo de Soto. First Florida man. First Florida man was Hernando de Soto. Won't you solo go? Show off your photos. Throw out your Twinkies. Throw up your ho-hos. Tuck in them pinkies. Them shit's a no-no. The first Florida man was Hernando de Soto. Brought to my attention by the man with the mojo. My 8 subscriber, I'm a bagoso. Jump in them sinkies and dump them mimosos. The first Florida man was Hernando de Soto. First Florida man was Hernando de Soto. First Florida man was Hernando de Soto.
Threw up that blue pill, moved to a new track. I slew the foothills of that voodoo sap. Microfiche tape decks, I'll sift through that, cause I'll do anything to get the old Simpsons back. Give me the news that make my mood react. I'll swim through the sewer just to make it to the truth intact. And you can shine up that voodoo with new shellac. I'll still do anything to get the old Simpsons back. Imagine thinking Karl Marx is new school Klingon like Huzu. They welcome the ways they can bring on the boots, dude. Declare a major, they get paid to pollute you. Self-ashamed neighbors never gaze when they scoop you. I wonder how we fight it. The 6th step is never enter in my tent uninvited. The 5th step is produce, no skills is no use. 4th step community preference is unity. 3rd step is nation, it's somewhat location, mostly relations, that's the situation. Next step family, patriarchal sanity. Safe under the canopy, ain't a place for anarchy. 1st step I just got to say it, no showboat. Step back and soak up the logos.
First